But housing, housing, you need more hospitals, you need more schools, and then what do you have? And you got unions to deal with. And then the teachers never make enough of money, so they're always going to fight about that. So I don't understand why they keep building. Why do they want to make Nevada California? People from California running here because they can't afford to live in California, so they're going to make Nevada into another California, so people eventually have to leave here too. The things that they do just don't make any sense. I just don't understand. Another thing that's going on in schools in Clark County, they're going to have classes for the children and the parents to teach them about racism. Okay, they have to teach these people not to be racist, or what's politically correct. I don't think the people are racist, but they may not be politically correct. Now something is going on where that Omar, she's from Minnesota, I think, or Michigan, and she's having classes in a Catholic school, okay, and the parents are not allowed in the classes when she talks to these kids on the Muslim religion. Now I want to know why the Catholic school itself would bring her in to talk about her religion and the parents can't be there. I don't understand why. What is she going to say that the parents can't know? This is a problem. We're indoctrinating our children before they get a chance to figure out how they want to live their life, and they should be allowed to make their own decisions, mistakes or not. This political correctness is destroying our country. You see it everywhere. You see it here, in this little community here. Okay, this political correctness is causing people to hate each other when before they started this, it wasn't as bad. A lot of people voted for Obama to be the first African American president, thinking that the relationship with African Americans and the other nationalities or religious beliefs would be, everybody would get along better. I think he made it worse. I truthfully think he made it worse. I don't, you know, I talk about it on the radio, but I do not live my everyday life thinking about what religion or what color or what background somebody has. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. You get bombarded with this on a daily basis. And it's just a sad situation that we're doing this. I don't know why they have to alter everything that we do. Now, I was talking about this a couple of weeks ago about the direction that the country is going in. And I said that people are starting to feed on each other, and that's the truth. If you look at, I mean, this next presidential election, just looking on the Democrat side, or progressive, or lefties, or tree huggers, or whatever you want to call them, whatever you call them, they are beating up, and I'm not a big Joe Biden fan. He was a much nicer guy years ago, but he's apologizing to Anita Hill. He's apologizing for everything he's done before. Well, if he has to apologize for everything he's done before, what's he running for? Is he changing? Is he that important? Does he want to be president that bad that he's willing to change everything he has done to become president? Well, the people from years ago voted for Joe Biden because they voted for the way he was back then. Those people are not going to vote for him now if he changes. Just like if Donald Trump changed and didn't keep his promises, people wouldn't vote for him again. They're voting for him because he's doing the best he possibly can in the last 2.5 years to keep the promises he made to the people who voted for him. And that's important. You know, he even turned around and said last night that he couldn't believe, he says, before I was a politician, and then he shook his head and says, I can't believe I'm a politician. And he's probably not a politician, because so far nobody's proven he's lied about anything. He has done nothing wrong but try to keep his promises. So, you know, just stay on that thought. We'll be back in a minute. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, 775-751-2579.
Support for KPFF comes from B&P Dirtwork. B&P Dirtwork offers all-purpose backhoe for driveways and fifth wheel pads.
She knows that. She's listening to the show.
Lots and fields.
I don't know why she's calling.
B&P Dirtwork is licensed, insured, and happy to work for you. More information at 702-540-0961. That's 702-540-0961.
All statements heard on this station are that of the program hosts, co-hosts, guests, and callers alone, and are not necessarily...
You want me to tell me it was Al Capone from Chicago?
Oh.
This is LD, Lazy Dog Michael John. I'm going to host a show.
You know why they called him Tortoise?
At 7 p.m.
Called him what?
You know why they called him a tortoise?
Why don't you
Why?
come on by?
Because he
roll
taught
up
us.
on the porch, pull up a chair, and join me. We're going to have a good time. We're going to chat about this, that, everything else. We might even
Well, I know you like text, but you don't like using the letters, but you can always tell them to text you an answer. You
Oh, okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah, but then they'll text me all the time. Yeah, they'll text me all the time.
Hello, listeners. Want to know what talk programs are
I don't blame
broadcast
that's
on
the bad.
KPFF? The KPFF program guide is now on our Front Film Festival website. If you want to see what's coming up this week on KPFF, just go to www.frontfilmfestival.org. As programs are added or changed, so will the guide. That's www.frontfilmfestival.org for the best talk programs in Verona.
This is White Willie here. You know me from Friday night from 7 to 8 on KPFF 97.7 with the White Willie Show. But guess what? I also have a Monday night show from 7 to 8 o'clock every Monday. New program, new information for you, the listeners. So tune into the White Willie Show Fridays and Monday at 7 p.m.
on KPFF Durham.
This is 97.7, Rum's community radio station.
And welcome back. Support for KPFF is brought to you in part by Pure Communications. Pure Communications, 702-628-5662. And our call-in number is 775-751-2579. So during the break, their phone was ringing when I was talking. And during the break, my mother called up to correct me and remind me that it was Al Capone from Chicago. So my mother's brain at 90 years old is probably sharper than mine is. So, do we have a caller?
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I know. I got a call from my mother. She left me a message. Oh, did you?
I was a mailman out of Cicero, Illinois. I was 18 years old. Capone had crossed over, I think 47, I believe. This was 1963. You still get the mail.
Really?
He would get, like, advertising, especially for clothes and furniture.
Ah.
This stuff would come in, like, every day. You imagine, and they call it junk mail. They used to call it junk mail. Now they got a term for it.
You know, he said that there were no gangsters in Chicago, and he was right. He was from Cicero.
That's right. He set up shop in Cicero because he owned Cicero.
Right.
That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
And he had a strip joint in Cicero and everything else. He tried to kill him when he was at, I think it was called Crowley's or something like that. Anyway, so all this mail was coming in, and I'm 18 years old, and the other mailman said, what are you doing with Capone's mail? He said, I'm marking it out. Junk mail, he's deceased. Don't touch any of that mail. Put it in the overslot, don't worry about it. The next day, there was like a slot in the case, they call it the over. The next day, there was no mail. So I went to the station I never took one. Because you weren't supposed to.
Right.
You know they're going to throw it in the garbage and mark it up. But all in the Cisco, mail for an Al Capone. So that's 1963, times the hour change.
Well, he had kids, didn't he?
Say again, what?
He had kids. He was married and had kids.
Sonny was his kid. I don't know if he had more than one son.
Uh-huh.
Was, I guess, a nickname. Yeah, he did have a kid, yeah.
You know, Capone was originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, Brooklyn, and relocated. I think he had a brother who was actually a cop, but in a different state.
Uh-huh.
He had two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was the one that, you know, like, was making big money. He set up the soup kitchens
Mm-hmm.
during the Depression. So a lot of people liked him because he did so good, even though he was, you know, not a nice man outside of the soup kitchens.
Nobody got killed that shouldn't have.
Maybe you'll get him or not.
Go ahead.
Can't we all just get along?
Rodney King.
You got it. You got it. How about this one? You don't look so bad. Have another.
And that's not from Animal House, but did, you know.
Remember that guy?
No, I don't remember it right
It
now.
was New York Subway. Remember
Oh, Bernie Getz. Getz was his last name.
What's his name?
Bernie Getz.
Bernie Getz, right.
Right.
See, I'm in trouble hearing you sometimes when you're talking. I don't know what you're away from the microphone.
Okay,
Now,
good.
this one you won't know the author of it, but it's local narc. When you would try to get people to confess to drug deals or bring somebody down, you would say, show me a little love, and I'll show you a little love. But you don't have to confess, you know. Like,
That was it. Was that Lamb? Sheriff Lamb?
No, locally, right here for us, the narc. I'm not going to get this name up, but that was his term. He used to tell me, I said, people fall for that. They do.
Well,
Show me a little love, and I'll show you.
you do enough of drugs, you'll fall for anything. I didn't know we had Knox. How long ago was that?
Well, she calls him street cops or something now. He still works undercover as far as narcotics.
Okay.
He has a different firm.
Okay.
We have like 4 narcs still regular.
Okay.
Same guys over and over again.
Oh, okay.
One guy is K9 cop now. One guy works up in Kona Farm. Another guy is affiliated with the FBI.
Uh-huh.
Still with the department. And then we've got another one who's just like a detective, but he still works. He picks people up with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Confidential informants. It's still going on. People are, you know, ratting on each other for a better deal or for money.
Well, let me tell you something. They wouldn't have. The FBI has a 98% conviction rating because of rats.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, get people to risk their lives, normal people getting this scam or something, risk their lives, blowing a wire, and bring it down to friends and family for a few dollars or for a better deal for the whole country.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's
Like
crazy.
the one in this Kim report on Friday morning. I think that's the final conclusion, but he did something right in this case, because he was doing so arguing what he couldn't do. He said, I find no probable cause for this arrest. And he's been released. In other words, a drug arrest. And the state argued and said, oh no, you know, there was probable cause. But he said, well, why would he stop? He would stop for traffic. Okay, he stopped for the traffic ticket. And he just suspected there might have maybe something was putting out a drug sniffing dog who alerted to the cops. What they should have done, and that's what Lisa said from the bench, they should have called me for a warrant or called that person for a warrant. They did not. They weren't found partially found groceries. And she's insisting that, you know, you need the warrant. And I believe that you need the warrant.
Mm-hmm.
Say the traffic stop was enough for probable cause to search the car. And so they said something about the majority report by Nevada Supreme Court. And they brought it in so she could read it. She said this says that if you cannot contact, you know, a justice of the peace or a judge for a warrant or whatever, and if you're like, you can't let this guy go, at that point, then you just don't go with the warrant you just heard. He said, but that's not the case. Nobody calls me, nobody calls the other. So I'm going to find out Monday what the final decision was on that one. But you need a warrant. And you get these statutes that people can do whatever they want.
That's the problem.
Stop you for a license plate ball being out and you can search your car because they have the authority. And they're way out of line with that. And I'm watching it and the video says, you know, Judge Walker actually threw out a case and it was hiding twice.
Exactly.
Twice had like 360 marijuana plants when it was illegal to have any.
Mm-hmm.
And they went in without a search warrant. It was like looking for somebody, and they confiscated the plant. They put her, like a Class A felony. They wanted her to lock her up forever. Her lawyer put in, said they had no warrant. And Walker said, we're going to suppress the evidence, no warrant. He went all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court supported Judge Walker, saying, that's right, you needed a warrant. But the badge is simple. What's the warrant? It's something like, remember that joke, Poncho Dia, someone said, we don't need those safety badges?
Exactly, yeah, that was from Blazing Saddles. Yeah. We don't need no stinking badges.
And out here, we don't need those stinking warrants.
Yeah, right.
It's scary. There's some warrants in this. I said, you know, I'm from the old school, and we all know the old school goes down to the youth. This is way out of line with this one.
Yeah.
And I disagree with you as far as value electric. There's some money that gets scammed out and gone in coffee cans, and you just quit too early, making the big bucks and just left. I don't even know what you said. Probably some small island someplace. Maybe lucky. I don't know. But I just can't go upstairs and get over the picture all this money that we had, and now all of a sudden we're fixing
well, the problem is we don't really don't. It was all farce. They were borrowing money at 7% interest to keep the thing up and running. That's what the problem is. They're borrowing money to keep it running. We've been in trouble for cash for a long time. It's a house of cards. So.
Well, I know how it used to be. It was very simple. Join the power company. You pay $10 for a membership and a $25 deposit if you back in 78 when I joined. And you got what power? You didn't buy internet. You didn't buy anything, you know, fiber optics or whatever. You got the power. It was really cheap. You know, I just thought, I said, this is great. And you only pay for the power that you need. And life was good. And now it's just completely out of whack. So I don't know. We used to be able to carry the gun into Valley Electric, open carry and conceal, and then change off.
And the guy who's there, the security guard at Valley Electric, was wearing a suit yesterday at the meeting, and he was in charge of all the security guards, and he was the one who brought the cops in there to try to keep everything, and they went over to him and they said, oh, this guy's a problem, this guy's a problem, stay on top of them. They were all over Andy Alberti. They were right all over him, and he had, because it's our meeting, and he had an agenda that he wanted to follow, which was good for us and the all the people, and they just suppressed him from even speaking.
Yeah, well, I don't go to these meetings. I never have. I think I went to one in 1980 where Tim Hayden was CEO at the time, and he was shutting down the cotton field because cotton farming wasn't paying off anymore. That's probably the only one. But the rates were so low back then, and yes, you know, I was a newcomer to the Valley was here a couple of years, and I went to see it, but I haven't gone to the meetings afterwards. I have gone to meetings where they had guns, and I would go in with my guns and try to push the envelope, so to speak. And I want Ellen, but then when you see the name, it said that white men, you know, you don't win no more.
Yeah.
There's so many people on this sidewalk that people would sign passing guns. We had a radio station, no, the TV station was there, and, you know, and there was so much pressure, they just kind of like were putting it on. And I called the cops before I went in. I told them I'm walking in with my two guns. I'm a part owner of this deal here.
Right.
He said, well, we're not going to carry their water. You just go in there, we're not going to come and bust it. So we need a little courage. That's when it comes to find out. But that was in about 2003 or 2004.
Right. Well, we had...
Tomorrow's a big day in Williamsport. I just want to tell people that people that we all know are going to be sentenced tomorrow. So we're at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And if you want to see it, just come on to the courthouse and observe.
Okay.
All right. I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Jesus faith, power to the people, 1,000 salvation. I hope you keep you safe. David Flagman, over and out. Have a good show.
Thanks, Ray. So, yeah, Tim Hafen was there yesterday. Yesterday. And Gregory Hafen wasn't there, our new assemblyman. that was voted in by 14 commissioners out of 15. And Tim was pretty quiet. There were the usual. The TV station was there. They said we had a quorum. They said there was 400 people registered in there. It didn't look like it. But they had 500 box lunches. People went and looked at the auction, not much. And as they gave out the door prizes, people started leaving. So by the time you get to new business, you don't have a quorum anymore. So they asked, do we still have a quorum? And you know, they're looking around and say, I believe we don't. So that means you can't have any new business. So they said, well, no new business, we might as well adjourn the meeting. Somebody raised their hand to adjourn the meeting, done, over. Then they were going to have a special meeting after that, and then I think they were going to do the auction. But that's what the problem is. People really don't care what's going on. All right, a few people screaming about the money. A lot of people don't even know. I mean, how many newspapers do they sell here? 1,000? 5,000? Probably maybe 4,000 newspapers a week. Well, if you got 40,000 newspapers and every one paper 2 people get to read, you're talking about more than 50% of the population doesn't have a clue on what's going on. I mean, even if you read the paper, you don't have a clue on what's really going on because of the way they turn around and write articles and stuff. You know, it's always slanted towards we the people are the sleazebags, and you know, the government is smart. Don't forget. That's how they get their information. They get their information from the politicians and stuff like that, so they don't want them to get mad at them. But most people are not informed. That's why we have a problem. People are not informed. How many listeners do you get on this radio station? How many listeners do you get on all the radio stations combined? I guarantee you not 50% of the population listens to any radio station here or any local TV station. Most people don't watch the news. That's why they don't know what's going on. I keep going back to this original thing. During Hurricane Katrina, why were people up on the roofs screaming for help? Because they weren't watching the news, or they would have got out of town. Because most people don't know what's going on. I have this conversation with my friend Steve all the time. Steve does a lot of research for me. I mean, that he's retired. His hobby is researching on the internet. There's certain people that he follows. Greg Manarino. What's the other guy that did with the Common Sense Show?
Dave Hodges.
Dave Hodges, Common Sense Show.
Kevin Shipp, ex-CIA.
Right. And he turns around and does all that stuff for me on national and global stuff because I just don't have the time. And he's well informed on that stuff. Locally, he's not informed because you only could do so much. There's only so many hours in a day that you could do that. Plus, you have to have your normal life. You have to do your shopping. You have to take care of the place that you live. You have to do these things. And that's why people listen to talk radio, because they want to get informed because they don't have the time. They might have